All right. Well, we are at the end. We have storytelling and door prizes now. And then pass the banner. So who wants to do we normally do storytelling or door prizes first? Storytelling. Who wants to tell a story? Ooh.
So there was this one time at GLPA where Joe was looking for Sargasso, and it came on the dome, and it was great. So,
Ha ha. All right. Anyone else want to tell a story? All right, Dana.
So there was this one time about 5 or 6 years ago where I was calling on students for questions at the end of one of my shows. And I repeated the question that they asked. They asked about the North Star, and I said, she asked where the North Star was. And I heard all these giggles, and I was like, did I say something wrong? And after the program, this young boy came up to me and was like, you called me a girl. And I was like, no, I didn't. But I was like, oh, well, I'm really sorry about that. And that's why I call everyone friends now in the dome. So I don't try to guess gender in the dome anymore.
All right. I'm going to use that now. Anyone else? Who wants to tell a story? Is Melinda coming up? No, Melinda's shifting in her chair. Anyone? Ooh, Dan.
I feel like a lot of people at the conference have already talked to me about everything that's been going on, because I've been really busy in the last year. But I want to say, I've been coming to GLPA for 13 years now, and as my wife joked, it's my GLPA bar mitzvah. Finally a GLPA man. But yeah, GLPA has always been like my extended family in ways. As I've gotten very close to it, I really like it. But also, speaking of extending families, I'm having a kid next year too. So they're like, also GLPA adjacent, as many babies have been. And hopefully they'll get to come to a future GLPA conference like so many other children have lately.
Susan?
Well, there's a lot of young people in here, so maybe you didn't hear the story that I told many years ago. I worked in a star lab, and one young man climbed under the bottom of the tunnel to get inside of the star lab instead of going in the tunnel. So he crawled under the tunnel, and everybody was crawling all over top of him, and you could see his head come up inside, and he said, "It's dark in here, and I'm not even scared."
All right. Oh, over here.
I was doing our holiday show, our Star of Bethlehem show, and at some point during the show, I asked if there were any questions, and this little kid asked, "Does God have a girlfriend?" How do you answer that?
I can't count that one. The last fall, I was running Stars of the Pharaohs from ENS on ancient Egypt, and we had one family with a little, about a 5-year-old boy sitting in the center aisle. I thought, that little boy, he's not going to know where Egypt is. They're going to walk out halfway through the show for boredom. Not only did they not walk out, when I come to the Q&A time at the end of the show, anybody got a question? First hand up is this little boy. He said, "Mister, that was awesome." So we never know how we're going to reach people.
Anna?
So it's not planetarium related, but it's planetarium adjacent. So we hosted the Destination Moon, the Apollo 11 mission exhibit from the Smithsonian this year. And that means that we had all kinds of like secret hush hush when the FedEx truck was going to arrive, because yes, they FedExed Apollo 11 to us. So it arrived in the middle of the night and it showed up, and our collections manager knows what a huge space nut I am. So she was like, "You need to come over here right now. The curators from the Smithsonian are doing checkout on it, and they've opened the hatch." So they took the plex off of where the hatch was, and I couldn't see because I'm short, and so they put me in a cherry picker and lifted me up so I could look inside. And then they told us about how when they were restoring it, The curator, the specific curator for Apollo 11 for Columbia, has been the same one since it got there, and he's never been inside of it. And he almost had a chance, but he was scared that he was going to break the couches because they just did the 360 scans of the inside, so you can go online and see that at the Smithsonian's website. But apparently they were trying to find somebody who they didn't think would break the inside because there was one spot they couldn't get with the camera on a stick. And they happened to have an intern who was a ballerina. And she's a little bit shorter than me and about 90 pounds. And so she got to get suited up in, and they all have asbestos in them, so she had to wear like the hazmat suit. And then she got to go inside and very gracefully scan the inside of Apollo 11, which I think is the coolest job in the entire world.
All right, Howard.
So our lecturer, Tiffany, has a pointer she uses for kid shows called Arnie the Arrow. And one thing she does is have the kids call Arnie and then has Arnie fly around the dome to introduce him. Well, one day she had the kids call Arnie and introduce them on the dome and had Arnie fly around the dome. And we heard a kid in the audience yell, "Arnie, slow down."
I have one. Last year, I think this happened since Pleiades, I was doing a preschool sky and I was asking the kids if they had any questions and what do we learn about space, and it being like 4-year-olds, one raised her hand and she's like, so when I was being born, I didn't want to be born, so my mom had to go to the hospital and basically told me the whole story of how she was born by C-section. And her dad's like, shh, shh. I'm like, oh, you were born. I'm so glad to hear that. I'm so glad you're here. And she's like, I'm never going back. So, fun times. All right. Anyone else want to tell a story? All right. Okay. Gary.
I was doing one of my shows in the portable at the Asheville Museum of Science, and I had explained everything beforehand. And I was letting people in, and a young woman said, I'm claustrophobic. We examined some alternatives, and she did come in and sat next to the zipper in the Digitalis dome with one hand outside the dome. Where there's a will, there's a way.
All right. Over here.
Okay, so this one time, we had this really cool Halloween show, and our glorious bosses let us dress up for this Halloween show. And I decided one day to walk into the planetarium in a giant inflatable T-Rex costume. And you may think that's the end of it, but the audience at the end of the night got to watch a giant T-Rex dance the time warp. And I was informed just recently that, yes, I have to be the T-Rex again. There's no escaping it.
We just did every year we do a Girl Scout Brownie trade show. And every year the Toledo Zoo is there and they bring live animals. And nobody comes to our booth. Everybody runs to the live animals. So this year I retaliated and purposefully scheduled, did an asteroid really kill the dinosaurs for the same month that the Girl Scout event was. And then I had one of my staff members who also coincidentally happens to be my godson, and had him dress up in a 6-foot inflatable dinosaur costume and walk around the convention center as a dinosaur growling at people and handing out planetarium tickets. The zoo still beat me.
So in addition to the T-Rex, so I was dressed up as this giant inflatable T-Rex, and in our lobby we have a giant penguin statue. So I decided to stand next to this giant penguin statue, and you'd think people have seen enough T-Rex videos to know that it's a person in a costume. But I stood still enough next to this penguin statue that people thought I was also just a statue. The funniest thing is when people come into the lobby, they get past me, get ready to walk into the doors, and then I leap out at them and yell and roar. One woman fell over, and when we called the police to say, hey guys, come lock up the doors, we're good to go, the woman couldn't stop laughing because she said, I watched the cameras as you continually scared the guests as a giant T-Rex. It was the best part of my entire night.
Mine's maybe not super funny, but when I was hired as the planetarium curator manager, one of my good friends I work with, David, at the museum was hired as the Giant Screen Theater curator, so we were sort of at the same level. And he loves the planetarium so much. He comes on his break. He comes to star shows, especially if I'm doing it for some reason. And so for his 29th birthday, we decided to throw him a surprise party in the planetarium. And one of my other coworkers had gotten him, shall we say, lubricated before so it was, sufficiently happy so that he would be confused before the night. And then I had a different coworker call my cell phone and be like, Renee, there's a rental in the planetarium and you are supposed to be doing the show and you're not here. And so David and I rushed over to the museum. And I was like, oh no, I was supposed to be doing a show. What are we going to do? And he was so confused. And then we went into the back of the planetarium and he was whispering this has been my dream to come to the planetarium when I'm already drunk. And so we went through the back and we had Lady Gaga, who was his favorite artist, playing with his face up on the dome. And he's like, this is the best rental ever! And it wasn't until the lights came up and his whole family was in there, he realized it was his surprise birthday party. So his face was on the dome. Anyway, and we all did that without one half of the museum knowing. So success and a good surprise birthday. And so he better have something good for my birthday next year.
This year for our annual gala, we actually had Dr. John C. Mather come and speak. So you guys probably know him as the lead scientist on the James Webb Space Telescope. And I actually got to have dinner with him before our gala, and we were sitting down and we were talking about informal science education and everything. And I asked him, what inspired him to become a scientist, and he actually said that it was when he was a kid and he went to the planetarium, and that was his inspiration for becoming a space scientist.
So I just want to brag on one of my staff members for a minute. So when she was hired as a gallery assistant, which means she wasn't going to be in the dome. Basically, she took tickets, she made sure everybody was comfortable, she did ushering duties, which are super important, as you probably all know. But the nature of her position was shifting, and she hates public speaking. She is absolutely terrified of it, wants nothing to do with it. She can do one-on-one interactions just fine. But last year she got into classrooms with kids and she co-taught. But this year I asked if she would like to learn how to run the projector and learn how to run Little Star, which she didn't have to do the show for. All she had to do was do the intro and the outro and then push play and point out stars. And so she's been doing that for a month now. And she's actually comfortable talking on the microphone and has no problem with it. And now we're talking about doing her first live show sometime in the future. And I'm really proud of her.
I'm going to tell a story that's a little bit at my planetarium director's expense, but hopefully not too much. I'm pretty, I wouldn't say I'm anti-Pluto, but I'm definitely the camp that thinks Pluto's a dwarf planet, as do many of us at the California Academy of Sciences. But earlier this year, we hosted David Grinspoon and Alan Stern during their book tour to promote Chasing New Horizons. We're very kind to them. They're very nice. In fact, like I met them literally coming back from GLPA exec to start sorting everything out. And so, we set up their lecture. They're very entertaining people. If you've never met them, by the way, I highly recommend it if you should ever get the chance. So our director, Ryan Wyatt, who everyone hopefully met at Pleiades last year, has been to GLPA a few times, did the introduction for them, and he said, Chasing New Horizons is a lovely book. It's going to go on my bookshelf right next to Mike Brown's book. And you have never heard 300 people, because of course it was all Pluto fans in the audience, hiss at somebody in unison that loudly.
Thanks, Dan. So I'm originally from the Cleveland area, even though I am in GR now. But whenever I go to visit my mom and dad or whatever, I try to see a museum or something while I'm there. And Jason, who works in Cleveland, unfortunately nobody from their museum could be here for this conference, but he offered to just come and meet with me and like show me around their planetarium, and we chatted for a while. And I had plans to meet up with a friend after meeting with him, and we went to this like avant-garde tea house in Cleveland. And I got there early. I was waiting for my friend, and Jason Davis walks in, and he like had plans to meet his wife there after our meeting. And he was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like we ended up in the same tea house, and it was very funny. It was funny because it's like not a super common place to go. Like it's a weird artsy place, so it was really cool.
Anyone else? All right, we're collecting name tags for door prizes. All right. Well, hooray! Shall we do some door prizes then? All right, so how is this going to work? Okay.
So, everybody make sure that your name tag gets in the goodie bag. Where'd the goodie bag go? Okay. If your name tag is not in the bag, if you don't enter, you can't win. So what we're going to do is we're going to have two people to draw names. I'm going to stand up here and dole out prizes. Waylena went out, and I know V is going to help us. And Veda is going to help you. I'm a customer. Vivi. Okay. Anyway, Waylena stuck her head out the door to make sure that we got everybody. Okay, and one in the restroom. All right, Waylena, so we're going to have two to draw names. Well, okay, I'm going to stand up here so I can kind of hand, because we have a lot of door prizes, people. By the way, thank you to everybody who donated. A lot of items from personal collections in addition to sort of the standard sponsors and other kinds of things. So, who's going to draw names? And Waylena, you said we needed somebody to keep track? Yeah, I'm looking for notebook right now. Here, just use the back of this. That'll work. Okay. So, Way, you going to draw names? Or do you... Do we want V? Okay. Okay, so who's going to draw? Nope. All right.
Still waiting on you guys? Still waiting on someone.
I had draw my name first.
All right. You drew your name first. This is a reproduction art print from Dale Brown, and while I'm thinking about it, a squeeze Fresh Brain, Squeeze Brain. Steve Hatfield from Konica Minolta could not be here at the conference, and they've partnered with a new company here in the States called Mechdine. And when I asked for door prizes, I got a box full of Squeeze Brains. So, there you go. Who's next?
Paulette Epstein.
Lens cleaning package, courtesy of Zeiss. Let's see here.
Susan Button.
Okay, from Spitz, a snack tray. Let's see here.
Brian Wolf.
From the handy hands of Waylena McCauley, custom-made space pillows.
Renee Kerrigan.
This is a selection of Pez objects from Shane.
You want it?
Renee. Where's Renee?
Yeah, sure. Yep.
Hold it off to the side.
Okay.
Yeah, here.
All right.
Pass it down.
Tom Button.
Okay, this is goodies from Laser Fantasy. Jay Heck.
Nevaeh Bailey.
Okay. Eastern Astrolabes, courtesy of Adler. Adler, that's right. Who's next?
Ular.
Okay.
Kaviliya?
This is handmade pottery from John and Amara Platt. Pratt? Platt. Okay, I said it. Who's
Gary
next?
Tomlinson.
Okay, Gary Tomlinson. This is Wolfram Alpha and Abrams Sky Calendar subscription.
Gary Beckstrom.
Okay, 15 Stars Physical. Boom.
Ken Murphy.
Stars of Jade from Julius Stahl, courtesy of April Witt and Julius Stahl's family.
Janet Beckstrom.
Okay, selection of books from Thomas Hamilton. There we go. All right.
All right. Alex Cross.
Okay, battery charger from Evanston, Sutherland.
Annie Wilson.
Okay, this is I'll make sure I read this right. Original 1962 World's Fair souvenir, not a reproduction. Yep.
Emily Romy.
Engineering STEM poster set and Squeeze Brain from Space Telescope Institute. Yep, Squeeze Brain.
Where's Renee?
Barb Williams.
You want Pez?
Okay.
Yeah, over there.
Homemade syrup from Annie Wilson and Wolfram Alpha goodies.
Dan Tell.
Okay, Modern Scholar, James Keeler.
Thomas Wilmich.
Some more cool astronomy themed, space themed pillows.
That's in the back.
Make your hand over there.
David Hurd.
Mugs, Squeeze Brain, and mugs from Ward Beecher, Squeeze Brains, and Wolfram.
John Winkowski.
Okay, mugs from Evanston, Sutherland.
Right. Greg Williams.
Stars of Jade from April Witt and Saul family.
Dana Thompson.
Wonders book from Cal Academy.
Here.
There you go.
Right over here, Rita.
Rita, right here. Right here. Hey. Thank you. Thanks, Dan.
All right. Dave's Leak. Leak or Leaky? Leak. Okay.
Dave Leak. Bottle of wine, courtesy of
Her aunt.
her aunt. And aunt.
It's supposed to be really good.
Steven Sumacrest. Okay. All right.
One GLPA polo shirt, courtesy of Jeannie Bishop.
All right, Waylena.
Waylena's gonna hate me. So, we're not sure who donated petrified wood. Okay? But also attached to it was Wolfram Alpha and a squeeze brain. Okay. I keep giving them.
Bart Benjamin.
Bart Benjamin. Mondale Chamberlain. Children of the Sky. Autographed. He says hello, by the way.
Way back here.
April Witt.
LED USB powered computer light.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh.
Anna Green.
Clyde Tombaugh. From, hang on here. Oh, it's from Gary and Janet Beckstrom's collection.
Francine Jackson.
Okay.
Okay.
Edward Hubble from the Beckstroms.
Tiffany Stone Woolbright.
Astrolabe.
Heidi Kuchta?
Okay. Mug from Science Central and some goodies from Wolfram Alpha.
Shannon Schmall.
Handmade pottery.
Mike Smale.
Mike Smale. I wanted to unroll this and see what it looks like. Little t-shirt. If it doesn't fit you, let us know.
Buck Batson.
Lens cleaning goodies from Zeiss.
Shane Horvatin.
What? Me, apparently. Yes, you apparently. From the Bell Museum, Sarah Keplerly, which I'm mispronouncing her name terribly.
John Forsch. I think I'm saying that right.
Oh, I do have a problem here though. So some of you might have been here the other night when Mr. Sip offered beer to people and we found out we could not drink it at those late night shows, had purchased some beers. So at some point, if somebody would prefer not to have a prize and would rather have some beer, feel free to let me know because we need to find a home for this stuff. Okay, so did we have a name that somebody knows?
John Forsch.
Okay. Light blocks from courtesy of Audio Visual Imagineering and Laser Classroom.
Michael McConville.
Michael McConville, courtesy of Sharon Shanks. Pluto and some stamps.
Pluto stamps.
Yep, Pluto stamps. What?
Jackie Bauman.
Okay. More of this cool handmade pottery. Hold on, let it settle. Okay.
Paul Logus.
Sky to Space. Astronomy by the Basics, courtesy of Steve Fentress in Rochester. Autograph.
Sarah Kumperud.
Okay, where's Sarah? Okay, this is Wolfram Alpha and items from Ward Beecher.
Dale Brown.
Dale Brown. This is from Laser Fantasy.
Jeff Holt.
Jeff Holt gets some astronomy pillows from Waylena.
Mark Reed.
Mark Reed, in this box is contained a spherical concepts bolt-shaped planisphere. Very cool item. I'm just grabbing randomly here.
Austin Edmister.
Okay, Eastern Escalades.
Patrick Durrell.
A selection of Wolfram Alpha, including the book, and I can't think of what the name of it is. A New Kind of Science.
Mary Holt.
Mary Holt. Black Hole Blues and Other Songs from Outer Space.
Chris McCall.
Ah, okay. This is from Space Telescope Institute, was extra exoplanet tour posters. So if you want to hide that for me. Oh, and a squeeze brain. By the way.
Tom Dopes.
Digitalis LED pointer for kids safe.
Susan Batson.
Dan Tell, Cal Academy, Constellation Science.
Nick Lake.
astronomy books from Thomas Hamilton.
John French.
Don't want to give John French something from the years. That would be bad. Huh? Okay, John French. This is Shoot the Moon game courtesy of Mark Webb.
Tristan Biffle.
LED USB powered computer light. No beer takers yet. I gotta get rid of this beer.
Nick DeLuca.
Okay, Laser Fantasy.
Jeannie Bishop.
Astronomy pillows.
Alex Mack.
Lego. Women in NASA. Book and set.
Ashley Lemasters.
This is a, what is it, solar position demonstrator.
Gary Lazich.
What you call Abrams Planetarium, Sky Calendar subscription, and a squeeze brain, and maybe something else in there.
You already have it. Didn't we renew it for you?
Jessica Harrington.
Okay, squeeze brain. This is the Harris Farmer's Almanac with astronomical information provided by John French.
Did you autograph it, John?
And a squeeze brain. Yes.
Howard Hale.
I got this one. I got this one.
Howard Hale. This is a remote portable battery charger device.
Joe Childers.
Braille copies of courtesy of Edinburgh University.
Melinda O'Malley.
Whoop, hang on here. Make sure that's the right die. Yeah, that's the set. Another set of astronomy color. Still have some beer that needs to home.
Sean Lash.
Sean, Eastern Astrolabes.
All right. Adenike Zanu.
Nice slim Queenie goodies.
Sherry Adams.
Okay, there you go. That's Abrams Planetarium Sky Calendar subscription.
Okay. And
Last one.
Folasad Zanu.
Okay, this is a
I'm sorry, I probably pronounced
print from Dale Brown and a squeeze brain.
All right.
We're gonna have prizes, guys.
All right, now we're going again.
Seriously, someone take the beer home with them.
Yes, feel free to choose.
You can just give me a beer now.
No, don't drink it.
No, not now.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Okay, so everybody's in there?
All right, Renee Kerrigan.
Renee Kerrigan, a hard drive with 4K frames of Santa's Secret Star, permanent license, courtesy of Alex Mack of the Ritter Planetarium.
Okay. Jackie Bauman.
This is a 1.5-year license for Halloween Celestial Origins, courtesy of Dana Thompson and the Boston Brown Planetarium.
Okay. Ken Murphy.
Ken Murphy, a selection of goodies from the CERN and Earth and Space Center, including a nifty hat and limited edition 25th anniversary Apollo 17 astronaut pen authorized by Gene Cernan. Not autographed, but just there we go.
Greg Williams.
Greg Williams, LED light kit courtesy of Comco.
Right here.
All right, Nick DeLuca.
Nick DeLuca. Binoculars from Goto.
Ular Kavila.
Our Eastern Astrolabes.
All right. I apologize again. Adenike.
Okay, pillows, courtesy
Danu?
of Waylena.
Shannon Schwall.
The Navel of God, science fiction book by Mike Best, autographed.
All right, and me. Mary Holt. Mary Holt.
Eastern Astrolabes.
Heidi Kutsha.
Okay, ENS Mug.
Austin Edmister.
From Victor. Certificate for Sky and Telescope Pocket Atlas and a Squeeze Brain.
Tiffany Stone Wolbert.
Okay, this is a goodie bag from the Starkville Planetarium, Cindy Reynolds, and some Wolfram Alpha and some other goodies in there.
Buck Baxton.
Solar system. Wait a minute. This is actually donated by the Batsons.
Okay.
So, how about an LED light, USB powered light?
Mark Reed.
Mark Reed, solar system jigsaw puzzle.
Emily Rami.
Eastern Astrolabes.
Tom Button.
A selection of books from Dale Brown on Skylore.
John Forsch.
Okay, the Cosmos.
You guys can pass it down.
We can pass it down.
Dale Brown.
Stars of Jade.
Steven Sumacrest.
Eastern Astrolabes. Whittling it down here.
Chris McCall.
I know, but I feel bad. Okay, what's next? Who's next?
Tristan Biffle.
Okay, cool astronomy pillows from Helena.
Alex Cross.
Okay, a mug and squeeze brain courtesy of Science Central.
Gary Beckstrom.
Digitalis LED pointer.
David Hurd.
Gnome, courtesy of
Paulette Epstein.
USB powered LED light.
Yes. Did you take a beer instead? Okay.
Okay, somebody traded for beer.
Dave Lee.
Dave Leak, Neil Armstrong, a lifeless light, courtesy of Jerry and Janet Beckstrom.
Gary Tomlinson.
USB LED computer light.
April Witt.
USB LED computer light. Feel free to trade for beer.
Okay.
Paul Logus.
Bottle of wine, courtesy of the Ant.
Francine Jackson.
April, is this from you? What is it? It is a wrapped book.
Native American mythology from the Iroquois.
Okay, Native American mythology. Who did those do?
Sean Lash.
Stars of Jet. Which did? The book or this?
First book.
Okay.
This is Sean Lash.
This is Sean Lash. Stars of Jade.
Dana Thompson.
Eastern Astrolabes.
John French.
Cool handmade pottery.
Susan Batson.
Cool handmade pottery.
Howard Hale.
Stars of Jade. Almost there.
Nevaeh Bailey.
We have lens cleaning kit from Zeiss.
For all your lenses.
Melinda O'Malley.
Okay, Eastern Astrolabes.
Anna Green.
LED laser pointer.
Oh, yeah, I'll take that. Thank you.
Annie Wilson.
Okay, battery charger, courtesy of ENS.
Bart Benjamin.
Stars of Jade, courtesy of April and the Stahl family.
John Winkowski.
Thank you.
Constellation socks, courtesy of Dan Tell and the Cal Academy.
Brian Wolf.
More pillows.
More pillows. Elena's been busy.
Dan Tell.
Okay, this is goodies from the Starford Planetarium, Squeeze Brain, Wolfram Alpha. We still have beer.
Sherry Adams.
Sherry Adams. Cat Pinball, courtesy of Mark Webb. I think that's Mark Webb. Yes, Mark Webb. And a really cool card with a quote from Carl Sagan. For small creatures such as we, the vastness is bearable only through love. Quote by Carl Sagan. There you go.
Thomas Wilnich.
Nifty pottery. By the way, does anybody know who these were from? And little nifty planet paper. From the button.
From the button.
From the buttons, okay.
They go together.
All right, there we go. There we go.
Barb Williams.
Barb Williams, mystery object from the buttons.
Shane Horvat.
Shane Horvat. Okay, light. Okay.
Sarah Comperud.
Sarah. Batteries for pillows for pottery.
Or beer.
Or beer, yes, or beer.
All right. Michael McConville.
Hello. Let me make sure we got everybody. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that is all the door prizes. If you still have beer, please feel free to take it home with you or tonight back to the hotel. And if you want your name tags back, we'll just put them up here on the stage and you can grab it.
Otherwise, I think it's time to pass the banners.
Where's that gonna go? I'll let you get that.
Oh.
If anybody needs packing material for pottery or other objects, I have some, so feel free to come get.
Before we pass the banner and before anybody else leaves, let's give our hosts another big round of applause. Everyone had something to do with the conference. While we're getting the banner out, let me also remind you to fill out the conference survey, glpa.org/2018/survey.
John French.
I know, but after that. Yeah, we need 2021, don't we?
Oh, okay. All right, are we passing now?
Have this.
Yeah, move center and I'll come chairs.
I think we need to step forward here.
I know, I'm
Yes, block the beer.
Block the beer.
Block the beer.
How high are we? Is it supposed to be to the left or right or right to left?
Yeah, one more big round of applause. Everyone have safe journeys home, and we'll see you next year.
Thank you. Yeah, that's good thinking. Good thinking. All right. Hey, all right, got a photo bomb. One cheese out there.
That's funny. Did you see that? Sherry cat, the ball or whatever? No. She had.
Thanks, Dan.